CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. Don't forget to visit me on my website, www.becomeyourseed.com, where I talk about our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves to help us on our journey to self-discovery. Also, follow me on Instagram at Become Your Seed, Facebook, BYC Become Your Seed, and also YouTube, BYC Become Your Seed, to stay up to date on my latest podcast. Also, I have a book out that is called Become Your Seed, 21 Poems to Ignite Your Spiritual Journey. If you're interested into reading something that helps you think outside of the box, you can purchase this. There is a link on my Facebook page, Christina McIntyre, that is available as an ebook or a paperback. Also, if you're interested in learning about the chakras and a holistic approach to mental health, I do that as well. I also sell jewelry to a company to help you as an aid on your spiritual journey. You can message me as well if you're interested in that. Also, this Wednesday at Dream Event Space, 517 Avenue of the States, I will be throwing together a Feed the Homeless in our community event. It is open from 12 to 3 for anyone that is in need of a meal. Everything is free. Also, there will be a clothing and coat drive there as well. So if you're interested, if you know someone that needs a meal, please send them my way. It is limited to about 40 people, so try to get there as early as possible. During the holiday time, I think we all need to do our part in helping out any way we can, and anything isn't too small. So whatever you can do, if you can provide, monetary items, you can provide your time. People need us. We need each other, and our community suffers, and so it's important that we give back in any way that we can. So whatever you are good at, use your gift to help out in our community. Also, during the holiday season, it's a really tough time for a lot of people. A lot of people suffer from a seasonal affective disorder, and which means is when the seasons change, the weather gets colder outside, it's not as much sunlight, people tend to get affected by this. So it's important that you pay attention, get as much sunlight as you can, and try to do things that bring you enjoyment and peace. Try to get more exercise. Exercising helps to balance some of that. Also, if you are suicidal or thinking about it, or you're going through a really tough time during the holiday season, it can be tough on some people. A lot of people feel lonely during these times, so it's important that you know that people are out there that will be willing to help you. The suicide hotline is 1-800-273-8255. You can also visit them on suicideprevention.org. Never feel like you're alone. Always feel like, it's someone out there. If you can't call, you can always join a group on Facebook. A lot of times that's where I go to if I'm suffering. And that's where I started kind of my journey at. In the beginning, I was ashamed to talk about mental health issues, and so I started there on Facebook. So it's important that you know that you're not alone. It's a lot of people out there that's suffering as well, and for you to reach out. I know during the holiday season, it's definitely tough. A lot of people have lost people during the holiday season. Sometimes people have to work, they can't be with their family, especially during COVID right now. It definitely isolated a lot of people. And so it's important that we try to prevent suicide as much as possible. Let people know, if you haven't been in touch with them, that you're thinking about them. Reach out to people. Do your part, and then also being of encouragement. Sometimes a few kind words can uplift someone's day. So try to do something. Not if it can't be every day, but try to do something each or sometimes that will benefit someone else to make their day. So the topic that I wanted to discuss for this week: how does our choices and decisions affect our mental health? Every day we make choices and decisions. As soon as we get up in the morning, we got to choose what time we get up. We got to choose how we start our day. We have to choose what we're going to eat for breakfast. Which road do we take to get to work? What are we going to eat for lunch, dinner? How we're going to go about our day. So we're faced with so many choices at the beginning of the day. And it's important that we make choices that can help our mental health. A lot of us do struggle with mental health issues already, and so when we have a lot of decisions and choices to make, sometimes it can affect us in a negative way. So for me, it's important to have a plan in place. I've been inconsistent the last couple of weeks just because I've been so busy with writing everything down. I was writing everything in a planner so I wouldn't get overwhelmed with trying to figure out what I had to do with each day. So I urge you, if you don't do it already, to get a planner, have Post-its, write notes in your phone to remind yourself of what you have to do each day, and that way it kind of creates a routine for you so that you are consistent in sticking with your plan. A lot of times we go through chaos because everything is so scattered, and so it's important to know that when you do suffer from mental health issues, to have this plan in place, it kind of helps you get a little bit more organized so that you don't have everything in your mind, right? Having too much sometimes in your mind, especially if it's scattered, can cause more anxiety, more panic, more frustration. So it's important that we figure out a way to eliminate all of that. So sometimes choices can be difficult, especially if you suffer from mental health. So I'm going to use depression as one of them. When you suffer from depression, it could go so many different ways. You could be high functioning and have depression, or you can be low functioning and have depression. So high functioning is you still go to work, you still are able to do those things that you need to get done, but you still feel depressed a lot, right? You still feel sad all the time, nothing makes you happy. You can be on the low side of depression where you don't feel like getting out of bed, you don't want to take a bath, you don't want to go to work, and so these things affect you in a negative way. And it's difficult to make decisions when you're in depression, right? You can't think rationally when you're in a depressed state. All you can think about is being sad in that moment, and that's where you want to stay because it feels comfortable and you can't see no way out. Even though maybe the sadness that you're feeling, it doesn't seem logical to other people, but it seems okay to you, and you feel like you have a right to stay in that depressed state, and that actually is affecting you in a negative way. When you're depressed and you can't get out of bed, you know you have to go to work, you got bills to pay, you got things to take care of, but in the state of mind that you're in, you don't see no other option. That is the decision that you're making, but that decision is also affecting your livelihood, right? And so it's important to know when to do something about it. When you're depressed, it's hard to pull yourself out of that. I suffer from depression, and it's a battle. I have to fight with it every day. Every day doesn't seem the same. And I know if you do suffer from depression, Some days you can barely get by. Some days you're okay. And those days where you don't feel like doing anything, nothing gets accomplished. And so it's a repeated cycle. And then you find yourself, it goes on to the next day. Then days turn into weeks, and weeks can turn into months. And so what I've been practicing when I find myself, because over the last 6 months, I found myself going up and down through depressed states. Like I'll go a week and 2 weeks. So what I've been finding is that when I recognize it, right, I allow yourself a day or two to be in whatever state that you're in, but don't let it get past to a certain point, because once that point gets in there, then you'll start doing things that are not conducive to your growth, right? Maybe for me, I have been overeating, sometimes from feeling depressed, so that's affected my physical health, right? And so now the depressed state might affect my social health, because now I don't feel like going out. So you have to recognize when it's becoming an issue and put a stop to it. It's okay to have bad days. We're not perfect, right? Every day is not going to be the same, but you gotta jump in there when you see that is their problem. And if you feel like you can't handle it yourself, you have to reach out to someone. You got to reach out to someone that is designed to help you in that area. A therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, whatever you need. If you turn to religion for help, do that. Do whatever is necessary to help pull you out of it. Because sometimes our thoughts can create depression for us, right? All these things that gather in our minds, and it puts us in this place, and we're thinking it's reality when in reality it's not. But for us, that's what it is. And so at times we feel like we can't pull ourselves out of it, but we must do that in order to continue to live life. So this is an example of how our decisions can be negatively affected, right? So when you're depressed, it's hard for you to make decisions. Also, when you have anxiety and panic, it's hard to make decisions because you feel like every decision that you make could go left or right. You don't know if it's the right or wrong decision, and so you're suffering internally trying to make a decision because you can't. And so you get overwhelmed, and this is when palpitations come, you get sweaty palms, your muscles tense up, you get headache, you may feel lightheaded, you get nauseous just from making a regular day-to-day decision. I suffer from anxiety as well too. And so for me, it's definitely intense pressure, and it could be like back in the day, I used to be fearful of going out in public. So it was hard for me to make a decision every day just to get out the door. But I urge you, even in that anxiety and anxious state, in that panic state, to do a little bit, not all the time, but do a little bit at a time, and it gets better over time. Not that the anxiety goes away, but you learn how to deal with it, right? Once you face that anxiety, fear, it gets better. Now you're able to do those things that you couldn't do before, but it's definitely hard to make decisions while you're in that state because you're in panic mode, you're in anxious mode, and your first thought is to protect yourself. So the decisions that you're trying to make, you feel like, oh, maybe it'll harm me, maybe it'll do this. So it could be beneficial for you, but because of your thought process, you're pulling yourself away. And so now you're just staying stagnant. And that's what having mental health issues do sometimes. They keep you in a stagnant place where you're not able to move forward because you feel comfortable in this place where you're at. You feel safe. And we don't want to get out of our comfort zone, even though the decision that we could be making could benefit us, right? It put us in a higher position. Maybe you're at a job and that decision that you make could elevate you, right? But because of your anxious state, right? You thinking, oh, maybe you're not good enough, and all of these negative thoughts, it'll keep you in that place. Also, having paranoid disorder can affect your decision making as well. If you don't, being paranoid makes you not want to be around people, it makes you not trust people. So if you can't trust people or be around people, it's hard to navigate through the world because unfortunately, we have people, right? We're in constant contact with people when we drive, when we ride the bus, when we go to work, when we go food shopping, clothes shopping, when we go to the movies, when we go out to eat. We're always in contact with people. And so when you're paranoid, you're thinking that people are talking about you. They're looking at you. They're pointing at you. So it's hard to make decisions that will help you in your life, right? If you're paranoid, you don't want to go outside, but you need things for your house. So maybe you start ordering things offline, but you're afraid to go outside and pick up those items because you think that someone is watching you, or you don't want to order these items because you think that someone may steal it. So you're stuck in a place, and it's making it difficult for you to make a minor decision that seems minor to everyone else, but is major to you. So it's important to know what your mental health status is, right? So that you can get the help you need, so that you can make these life decisions, so that you can move forward in your life and not be hindered by what's holding you back, and trying to make decisions that's going to improve your life. And it's important also to know that it's okay that you have these mental health disorders. What I want you and I urge you to is, if you know that you have them, or if this sounds like it's connecting with you, the next step is to make a plan of what to do about it, so that you can move forward in your life, so that you can have the best life that you can. We can't move forward if we don't recognize that there's an issue. It's okay that you have mental health issues. A lot of us suffer. 1 in every 5 people suffer from mental health issues each year. So it's a big number. What we need to do is to get the help that we need, so that we can make a plan for our life, so that we can do those things that we want to do. Like, we want to get promoted. Maybe we want to start our own business. We want to go back to school, but we're fearful of people, right? And so tackling these issues will help us get to the next point, so that we can make those decisions that can enhance our life, so we can make decisions that'll improve our thinking, make decisions that'll make us feel at peace on the inside. Because a lot of times mental health issues I can't figure out the word, but it scrambles our thoughts, right? And so what we are trying to do is get to a place where our thoughts are consistent with what we want out of life. And that's why I encourage people, 1, to get the help, to meditate, to figure out what you're doing in your life that can maybe making it worse. A lot of times we do things that add on to our mental health issues. So it's important that we figure out some things that we can eliminate that can help us make better quality decisions. Also, our elements and our environments can affect our decision making as well. Making a decision sometimes can be a test. Is it right or wrong? So sometimes we're faced with a decision and that we want to make, but it's hard because we worry about what people will think about us and how it will affect them, instead of making a decision or a choice that will better us. Maybe we were taught, right, to people please as we were growing up. And so we navigate through our life. We travel through our life making decisions that make other people happy, right? We people please. So we put ourselves on the back burner because we're trying to make sure someone else is happy. And over time, we start to feel depressed. We start to feel sad. We lash out. We neglect ourselves. We constantly are in a state of, I call it like a robot state. We're constantly moving and don't take time to sit and reflect and take care of ourselves, do self-care. And what that does is put pressure on us, right? We start to suffer more because we can't speak about what we want and what we need because we want to do those things that pleases other people. So whatever we think is a good decision or choice, we hold it in because, 1, we don't want people to make fun of us. Let's say you're trying to start a new business and you have a great idea, but you don't tell anyone, or maybe you have told someone and they made fun of you. They said it was stupid. Oh, you'll never get nowhere. So you don't do anything further, right? you let someone else make a choice for you. Because of how they feel, you made a choice based on how they feel. And so now you can't make choices for yourself. You don't want to make the decision for yourself. So you put off what you really want to do because you're afraid that someone else is not going to approve of whatever choice or decision that you want to make that will improve your life. But because you're worrying about their decision, it's affecting you. So it's important to figure out and make choices that are beneficial to us. And sometimes those choices is to eliminate those toxic people. Sometimes people can weigh us down. And I think sometimes we look for others' approval because maybe we don't know what we really want. And so we think that if we get validation from someone else, that could kind of solidify what we are thinking. But in actuality, it's added on to our anxiety and pain and panic, and then making us in a more state of shock, more state of trauma. So what we need to do is figure out, what do we really want, right? What do we really need? Is this a choice that is going to enhance my quality of life? Is this a choice that's going to take me to the next level and elevate myself? It's important to get feedback from people, especially if you're making big life decisions and choices. But at the end of the day, ultimately, it's your decision for your life. And my brother had told me this a long time ago. We depend on other people, right? We ask other people. But when those people let us down, it affects us, right? And now we're mad at those people because we chose to depend on those people. But if you depend on yourself, you make choices for yourself, and you make a decision for yourself, and whatever the outcome of the choice or decision is, that's all falls on you. So it's kind of taking responsibility and ownership of the choices and decisions that you make. So you have to, it's a pattern, right? It's a trauma bond. It's a trauma pattern that we have when we people please. We look for others for decisions to make for our own lives. So you have to kind of dig deep at this point and break that toxic behavior pattern. And that takes some work. That's why I urge people to go get the help that you need. And also you can do your own work as well during your self-reflection time. We should every day take about 5 to 10 minutes to self-reflect on the day and see what we can improve for that day, or do it a few times a week. The answers that we seek is always within, but everything is so loud we never hear it. And this takes time to sit there and really meditate and really listen to our own inner voice. A lot of times we have the right answer. We know what it is, but we're afraid to make decisions and choices because we don't want to affect others. But you gotta ask people, do they worry about what we tell them, what we're thinking, what we think they should do? No, they're gonna make a decision that is best for them. So why aren't we doing that? That's the best decision for ourselves, because we're afraid. We're afraid to kind of step out of our comfort zone because we've been stagnant for so long. We never heard our own inner voice. We got so used to listen to other people telling us what to do when we're growing up. We have our parents that tell us what to do when we go to work. We have our bosses telling us what to do. We have friends, maybe they tell us what to do. Everybody wants us to do what they wanted to do, right? They kind of they want to create in us what they think that our life should be. But at the end of the day, we only have ourselves to live with, and we only have one life to live. And life is limited here on earth, so shouldn't we be making decisions and choices that we enjoy, that we can do things that bring us pleasure, that brings us as peace? It definitely takes a lot. Sometimes we have to leave a job that's toxic to us. We have to make that decision. Maybe it might be a pay cut temporary, but if it brings you peace, it may be beneficial to you. So that's a choice that you have to make. Every day we're going to be faced with choices, and we need to make the best choice or decision that's going to be beneficial to us. Sometimes we hold on to items and things that cause us conflict, so maybe we need to learn to let it go. People like to chase money. Not that money is not important, because it helps, right? Money helps pay our bills, give us gas to drive, purchase things that we like. But sometimes chasing things can cause us more pain and conflict. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth it at the end of the day? Certain choices we make affect our mental health. I did discuss that. Sometimes we have to make choices that are hard, but the outcome of that choice or decision can be better. Like I just said, sometimes we have to make a choice or decision to leave a job, leave a situation, leave an environment that may be beneficial to us. Let's say it's a better opportunity somewhere. You live in Pennsylvania, the opportunities in Texas. And we have to sit here, and it's a hard decision. You don't want to leave your family and friends, but you know that will better enhance your life. So those decisions, sometimes we have to make. Sometimes as a parent, we got to make decisions for our children that may be hard. They won't understand it until they get older, but once they get older, they'll thank us, hopefully, for the decisions that we try to make that benefits their life. Every day, we're going to be faced with different types of decisions. And so it's important to start your day a lot of times on a good, on a good note. Wake up, already have your plan in place, right? It's important if you don't have a planner, if you don't have a notebook, write these things down. Write exactly what you want to do each day to make it a little bit easier, because we already have these mental health issues. That's a job in itself. So just make your life easier. Try to make decisions that's easier. How do we know which decisions and choices are best for us? Just ask ourselves. That's the most important thing. I think we're afraid to ask ourselves these questions because we're afraid of the answer. Sometimes ourselves will tell us, hey, this is not the right environment that we should be in. This is not the right job. These are not the right people we should be around. But we don't want to listen to that answer because that's not the answer we want. Sometimes the decisions and choices that we need for ourselves is not what we want. So we try to play around it, and that is causing us more pain and chaos. So definitely listen to yourself. And with every situation, make a pro and a con list. And this takes back. Always, I think it was Steve Harvey that said, make a list of a list of things, everything, pros and cons. And if those cons outweigh the pros, then maybe you have to get rid of whatever that decision or choice is, but do it so that it doesn't prolong you from getting to where you need to be. And I always say this, what you can control, control it. You can do something about it, right? We can't control everything that happens in our life. We can't control everything that happens in our day. But if you can control whatever decision or choice or situation that is, do something about it. Because the longer you don't do something about it, the more pain it causes you, the more it adds to your mental health issues. Now you're creating things that is happening that may not be happening, but because you're suffering from a choice that you chose not to make, it's causing you this. How do you feel less guilty about the choices that you need to make for yourself? Start by asking yourself, how can I make myself happy? What in life makes me happy? And then start doing those things that make you happy. We only have one life to live. We can't live our lives continuously trying to please other people, because what that do is create more sadness, more depression, and ultimately sometimes it can commit suicide because we're people pleasing so much we forget who we are. So start each day telling yourself that you love yourself, that you matter, that you're worth it, and start doing things that make you happy, because at the end of the day, them other people are going to do things that make them happy. So let's start to put ourselves first. It's not selfish to be selfish sometimes. You have to make choices that help you grow, that make you thrive, decisions that can benefit your life. Whatever your choices or decisions, make sure that you are making them without the influence of others. You are in charge of your reality, so create a reality in which you feel comfortable to live in. And that's the basis of this topic for this week. We need to start making decisions and start making choices that is beneficial to us, that makes us happy. And whatever that looks like, everybody happiness does not look the same. Everybody peace does not look the same. but make decisions every day that's going to create a peace in your home. You can't control how the day goes. You can't control every situation. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes we can't control the situation we're in, but we can have peace in those moments. Dealing with mental health issues is hard. So it's important that we start to learn how to control our emotions and have a plan. That plan is important because it's going to help you to recognize when you're having a panic or anxiety attack, or if you're going through an episode, having paranoid or a schizophrenic episode. So it's important to have something in place. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. You can watch me each and every Sunday on cmpradio.net here on Facebook. Also, follow me on Instagram at Become Your C. Visit my website, www.becomeyourc.com, where I talk about our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves to help unveil our true identity and towards self-discovery. Also on Facebook, BYC Become Your C. YouTube, BYC Become Your C. Stay up to date on my latest podcast. Also, I'm on TikTok at Become Your C. Also, this Wednesday, I am having an event at Dream Event Space over town at 517 Avenue of the States. Is from 12 to 3. I'm feeding the homeless. Everything is free. If you know someone that is in need of a meal, please send them my way. Also, there will be a clothing and coat drive there as well. If you're interested in my book, or if you're interested in learning about the chakra journey, a holistic approach to mental health, please message me. I'm open to having a discussion with you. Also, during the season, a lot of people do suffer. So if you're thinking about suicide or you're going through something, please don't use that as a last resort. They have the Suicidepreventionhotline.org, or you can call them at 1-800-273-8255. Remember that every choice and decision you make needs to either enhance the quality of your life or improve the quality of life. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time.